1962. Humanity faced total nuclear annihilation. While intermediate-range ballistic missiles arrived on Cuban shores, an invisible, colossal transformation accelerated deep inside the frozen wilderness of Siberia. A remote, nameless landscape along the winding Kan River vanished entirely from public Soviet maps. Krasnoyarsk-45 was born under total state secrecy, protected by elite military units. No entry was allowed without direct KGB clearance. The logistical engineering required to execute this expansion in absolute isolation defied standard construction timelines. Entire divisions of specialized military builders were deployed under the cover of night, working in freezing mud and dense sub-zero fog to clear miles of ancient pine forest. Heavy industrial machinery, manufactured in secret Ural foundries, arrived on unmarked flat cars with all identification numbers ground off the chassis. The local topography was systematically reshaped by continuous controlled blasting, creating massive flat gravel terraces to support the heavy concrete foundations of the enrichment sectors. Every cubic meter of displaced earth was carefully distributed across distant valleys to prevent Western recon satellites from detecting the true volume of the excavation work from above. While global eyes fixed on Washington and Moscow, thousands of Soviet laborers were completing a classified megaproject hidden beneath the Siberian Taiga. They were building a city designed to be completely invisible to the outside world. If you did not possess a top-secret security clearance, Krasnoyarsk-45 did not exist. It had no roads leading to civilian networks, no postal addresses outside internal military mail, and no place in official census data. Yet, the work happening inside its strictly guarded perimeter would dictate the true balance of global power for the next 3 decades. The architecture of this invisible metropolis was planned with rigid, geometric perfection that contrasted sharply with the chaotic wilderness surrounding it. 5-story brick apartment blocks rose in flawless rows, separated by wide, asphalted boulevards that were wide enough to accommodate heavy military transport convoys during emergency mobilizations. A centralized network of massive concrete utility ducts ran beneath the city streets, carrying high-pressure steam from hidden generation plants to ensure the entire civilian infrastructure could function independently during a prolonged siege. Why choose the harsh, unforgiving Siberian taiga for such a vital project? Strategic geography dictated absolutely everything to the Kremlin planners. Deep continental isolation effectively prevented early Western aerial surveillance and U-2 spy plane incursions. The massive, fast-flowing Kan River provided a continuous supply of essential cooling water for heavy industrial reactors. Meanwhile, the nearby Trans-Siberian Railway handled heavy logistics and secretive cargo transport without drawing attention. The geological stability of the chosen coordinates offered an additional layer of defense that was crucial for high-precision atomic manufacturing. The deep granite bedrock beneath the taiga could absorb the shock waves of heavy seismic activity or potential conventional bombardments, protecting the delicate internal mechanisms of the enrichment machinery. The thick canopy of the dense forest acted as a natural acoustic shield, dampening the constant, low-frequency mechanical hum generated by the massive ventilation systems and compressor halls. To further confuse foreign intelligence agencies, the state constructed several dummy timber mills and agricultural collectives along the public perimeter, effectively masking the immense electrical consumption and logistical traffic of the inner secret zone behind a facade of routine rural industry. They designated this ghost town Krasnoyarsk-45, utilizing a highly calculated postal code distance metric to obscure its true coordinates. It became a ghost town serving a singular, absolute military purpose. Every single building, street, and industrial facility was constructed from scratch under the watchful eyes of state security apparatuses. The mountains were hollowed out, concrete walls were reinforced to withstand potential bombardments, and the entire perimeter was wired with sophisticated alarm systems. The people brought here were erased from standard civil registries, becoming phantom cogs in a massive industrial machine. The security perimeter surrounding this classified space was constructed as a multi-layered barrier system designed to catch any physical or visual intrusion. The outermost ring consisted of cleared forest lanes patrolled by armed guards with attack dogs, backed by high wooden fences that concealed the inner defenses from the view of passing long-distance trains. Beyond the wood barrier lay a complex network of high-voltage wire fences, pressure-sensitive ground grids, and automated tripwire illumination systems that could instantly flood an entire sector with white light during an alert. Concrete watchtowers equipped with high-intensity searchlights were positioned at regular intervals, providing overlapping fields of view across the barren dead zones that separated the wild wilderness from the forbidden industrial core. October 1962 brought a massive technological leap that altered the balance of power. The ultra-secret electrochemical plant, known internally as EKhZ, commenced its very first operational uranium enrichment cycles. How did Soviet scientists achieve this unprecedented industrial scale under such tight deadlines? Soviet engineers deployed massive, multi-tiered gaseous diffusion cascades filling giant underground halls. They separated volatile, highly reactive uranium-235 isotopes from heavier, stable uranium-238 molecules using proprietary filtration systems. The interior of the primary production halls resembled a colossal, sterile cathedral of metal and concrete, stretching out into deep, vanishing perspective lines under thousands of clinical ceiling lamps. The massive gaseous diffusion cascades were housed in towering silver-painted steel cylinders that operated in perfect, deafening unison, creating a continuous mechanical roar that vibrated through the reinforced floors. The process required the handling of highly corrosive uranium hexafluoride gas, forcing engineers to utilize specialized nickel-plated piping networks and flawless hermetic seals that were checked daily with specialized pressure instruments. The quality control laboratories worked around the clock, utilizing high-precision mass spectrometers to verify that each production run met the exact enrichment specifications demanded by the state weapons program. Kremlin planners finally secured absolute domestic weapons-grade fuel independence, eliminating any reliance on foreign raw materials. The massive gaseous diffusion infrastructure required more electricity than entire European cities, drawing power from dedicated local thermal plants built deep within the secure zone. Thousands of identical metal cylinders spun day and night, whispering a low hum that signaled the birth of superpower parity. The success of the 1962 expansion meant the Soviet Union could now mass-produce warheads at a speed the United States never anticipated, effectively locking both nations into a state of mutually assured destruction. The massive energy infrastructure required to sustain this continuous industrial operation transformed the regional landscape. A dedicated high-voltage electrical switchyard was constructed next to the plant, featuring rows of colossal ceramic insulator columns, heavy copper busbars, and massive transformer units painted a dark industrial green. This electrical grid drew immense power directly from local coal-fired generation stations that operated at maximum capacity, sending thick columns of gray smoke into the sky day and night. The immense volume of heated water discharged from the plant's cooling systems ran through large concrete retention basins and baffled channels, generating thick blankets of white steam that hung constantly over the river valley, marking the intense expenditure of resources required to maintain the Soviet atomic shield. Total, suffocating silence reigned inside this heavily fortified perimeter. Selected scientists and elite engineers accepted a carefully engineered artificial reality. High barbed wire fences physically separated them from ordinary Soviet poverty and systemic post-war shortages. The state filled local stores with scarce luxury goods, imported clothing, and premium food items completely unavailable in Moscow. Exceptionally high salaries and elite housing rewarded their absolute compliance and technical brilliance. The social engineering within this isolated sanctuary created a highly controlled, artificial society built on material privilege and absolute ideological conformity. The central department stores were constantly stocked with luxury consumer appliances, fine woolen textiles, and premium consumer goods that were delivered directly via classified supply lines from Western ports. Modern cultural centers, neoclassical theaters, and Olympic-sized indoor athletic facilities were constructed to provide a complete urban lifestyle within the perimeter, ensuring the isolated population had no reason to look beyond the fence line for recreation or fulfillment. The residential courtyards were beautifully maintained, featuring manicured lawns and young birch groves that presented an image of prosperity, hiding the true nature of the high-security enterprise operating just a few miles away. Residents signed strict, lifelong non-disclosure agreements enforced by severe penal sentences. They could not reveal their precise geographic location to immediate family members living outside the fence. The KGB monitored every single phone call, intercepted every letter, and shadowed social gatherings to detect the slightest leak. Leaving the city required months of bureaucratic approval, and speaking to a foreigner meant instant imprisonment. The surveillance apparatus extended into the deepest corners of domestic life, utilizing an organized network of internal monitors and classified registry files to track every citizen's daily movements. The local telephone exchange hall was packed with mechanical switching frames and copper monitoring lines, allowing state security officers to listen in on communications without warning. Mail sorting facilities operated under strict security guidelines, where every personal letter was opened, read, and stamped by censors before delivery. Families learned to speak in low, guarded tones even within their own kitchens, well aware that the walls of their modern apartments were shared with colleagues who were bound by the same terrifying security oaths to report any sign of ideological deviance or loose talk. The year 1991 altered global geopolitics forever as the red flag descended. The Soviet Union collapsed completely into the pages of history. Yet, the classified city gates of this secret complex remained locked tightly to outsiders. In 1994, Boris Yeltsin's newly formed government officially renamed the mysterious location Zelenogorsk, finally placing it on modern regional maps. The state-run electrochemical plant immediately lost its primary weapons-grade uranium mandate due to international disarmament treaties. It pivoted toward commercial low-enriched uranium production and high-tech isotope separation for peaceful scientific endeavors. Modern international nuclear plants, including several facilities across Europe and North America, still rely heavily on this precise Siberian infrastructure for their daily energy fuel. The secrecy transformed from military defense into corporate security, keeping the high walls intact to protect valuable commercial secrets. Within the city, monuments dedicated to industrial workers and classic corporate architecture stand as silent reminders of the 1962 expansion, while the surrounding Taiga forest continues to isolate this unique urban structure from the fast pace of the outside world, demonstrating how the ultimate bastion of a hidden empire has successfully survived into the dawn of the 21st century. Secret geography defined the 20th century. Krasnoyarsk-45 was never a normal civilian settlement. It functioned as a highly fortified industrial machine. Its 1962 expansion quietly fueled the global arms race. Traces of this hidden history survive today behind guarded checkpoints. Where will the next hidden infrastructure emerge?